This is Rob Likens from Louisiana Tech University, and this is our wide receiver drills and techniques video. Before I get started, I just wanted to give credit where credit is due. Before making this film, I watched Justin Watts, who is presently at Middle Tennessee State University, and Shane Wasden's video from he's presently at Troy. And so I watched their videos and got a lot of the drills and ideas from them, and they do a great job, exceptional job. And I just wanted to acknowledge them and that I built off of some of the things that they did. So you'll see some of the drills from Middle Tennessee State, and you'll see some drills from Troy where Justin and Shane did a lot of good work. So I'm just building off them and just wanted to acknowledge their accomplishments. First thing I want to get started with, and this is where it all starts, is ball security. Um, One of the things about ball security is I know everybody has these drills for ball security. You could probably pick 20 of them or whatever. But I think the most important thing is that the coaches are constantly watching throughout practice, through every drill, and you're getting constant feedback on how you're carrying the football. One of the things that we do a good job here, I think, is after in every drill that we run, um, every period, whether it's one-on-ones, routes on air, quick game routes on air, skelly and team. We make our kids run the football back to the quarterback. We don't throw the footballs across the field, but we make every receiver and running back run the football back to the quarterback, and every assistant coach is on the eyes of the guys running the balls back, and we're watching how they run the football back. Are they keeping that football high and tight? And if they're not, they're getting 4 or 5 coaches screaming at them, letting them know, constant feedback. And I think after a camp of spring and a camp, your fall camp, if your coaches are giving them constant feedback on every single drill, you're coaching ball security in every single drill that you do. And I think that's where you get good at it. I don't think it's because you do 1 or 2 drills here and there, but it's just the constant feedback to the kids. So, but one drill that we do just kind of as a warm up here is we're going to get a pair up, and whether how many kids you got, we'll have one guy with a football, one guy with a football, one guy with a football, and then we'll have a guy that strips. Okay, so these guys right here are going to be the guys that help strip the football. And basically what you're looking for is you're teaching the kids you want 3 points of pressure on the football, where their fingertips right there, their fingers, their middle finger and their index finger splitting the nose of the football, and they got pressure up against their forearm. And then the other point of pressure is the top of the number up against the rib cage. And some people even bring a fourth point of pressure where the nose of the football, the back nose of the football, is up against the inside of the bicep, and whatever you want to coach. Just make sure that when you're standing behind the player with the football, that you're not seeing any air, any separation between the ball in the player's body. I think that's the biggest key. Is whenever there's air and separation between the ball and the rib cage of the ball carrier, that just gives a little space for a defender to stick his hand up in there, grab it, and undercut it and rip it out. That's the big thing. So this drill, very, very simple, very light. It's not strenuous. We're just trying to make sure that the guys are carrying the football with the points of pressure, and we're trying to strip that thing and make sure we try to rip it out as much as possible. And then we do it with the right arm, and then we'll come back and do it with the left arm. And we do this every day, just kind of as a warm-up drill, the first thing we do when we walk out onto the field for practice. Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is our stance and start. It's very important that a player, we tell them we want them in the most powerful position possible when the ball is snapped. And we just feel like you can't do that standing up too tall. We spend a lot of time harping on our players to make sure their helmet is lower than the defender's helmet, and it all starts with your stance. And as you can see here, and we're going to go around these guys with the camera. You could see here we want to have the lowest um, position possible in our stance. We want our backs as flat as they can be to the ground, as parallel as they can be to the ground. We want to be in attack position. We don't want our chest up and giving the defensive back any surface area to hit. We want to kind of look like a torpedo uh, coming off the ball. So we want to have a very, very nice low stance. I've heard people talk about it needs to look like it's your second step coming out of the blocks. If you're a sprinter for track and you just came out of the blocks, about where you would be if you after your first or second step right out of the blocks. Um, so as you can see, we're looking from behind. And another thing that we want to do is we don't want to be too narrow. This kid right here possibly is a little narrow, but as you'll see as the camera goes around, it might be from the angle of the camera, but this guy has some good space in between here, which is really good for press coverage. There used to be, receiver coaches used to say, okay, if a guy's in press, then we want to move our foot out and move it up. Versus press, but we didn't want to start shuffling our feet around whether the guy was in press or not. We wanted to be in the same stance, so we want to have some width here in between, shoulder width apart. We don't want it back too far. And I think the biggest evaluation of whether you got in a good stance or not is watch the start of the receiver. If he's kicking his foot back, shifting his weight, then the stance, he was not in the proper stance. So that's how we're going to evaluate the stance, um, is by the start. Okay, so let's look at these guys going around here, and then we're going to get them in we're going to start them off the line, and you can see if they take any false steps. But those are in very good stances, I think. Back is low. A lot of people talk about, well, I want 76% of weight. I don't even know how to evaluate that. I don't even know what that means. So I just want to be in a nice natural position that I can sit there for a while. And I tell them most of my weight is on your front foot. All right. And until you get a great start where you're not false stepping, then your weight's not properly distributed. So just get to the point where you can come off the ball and fire off the ball without a false start, and then you work from there. As you see these kids right here. Also, another thing I forgot to talk about is you want your hands. You don't want them up too high. I've seen kids where they put their hands up at eye level, which doesn't make sense to me, because all the defense back has to do now is just take his hands and shoot them upwards, and there's nothing you can do about it. And you don't want him to get underneath your hands. So what we try to do is get our hands right here, get our hands at the same level as the defensive backhand, but the defensive back's hand, and get it ready for combat, hand-to-hand combat. We don't want to be lower or higher than his hands. And here you're going to see the receiver going to take off and just looking at that back, making sure you have no false steps. We don't have any false steps, and he's off and running. That's when we know we got in a good stance. Let's look at that one more time. That's a pretty good stance and pretty good start right there. Okay, let's talk about some things that we can do to develop the hands of the receivers. Uh, when I first started coaching, or when I first met Coach Dykes, he was at Kentucky in Texas Tech, and I used to go there and watch those guys catch a ton of balls on the tennis ball machine. And not until I started working with Coach here at Louisiana Tech did I fully understand how well this helps the hands of the receiver. Um, the thing about the coaching points here with the tennis ball machine, what you want to do, all right, is what it does is it helps you keep your fingertips together and keep a really tight noose. I know a lot of you guys do the noose drill, but we keep a really tight noose. If you watch a receiver drop a ball, it's either something to do with his eyes or something to do with his hands. It's either the eyes or it's going to be the hands, one of the two. Okay? Um, we can really work on the hands by teaching our guys to get those fingertips together and keep a tight noose. When they drop the ball, a lot of times their hands are too separated. And catching a tennis ball, obviously, if your hands are too separated, you're never going to catch it. Another thing that it does is it develops soft hands. If you have very stiff hands and you're not giving some room with your elbows and you're not guiding that ball in and absorbing the football as it comes to you, that tennis ball is going to hit the palm of your hands and it's going to bounce forward about 5 yards. All right, and you're going to tell real easy whether you have soft hands or not. And this develops that as well. And also getting your fingertips on the football, that's the first thing that touches the football is your fingertips and not the palms of your hands, because like I said, it'll be very easily evaluated with the tennis ball machine. That thing will bounce forward on you. So you want to get your knees bent. All right, we want to have our knees bent, comfortable position. We want to have our elbows bent, nice, comfortable position. We want to have our fingertips together, forming a very tight noose. All right, and then we want to make sure that you watch that football, I'm sorry, watch that tennis ball touch your fingers. You can get a lobster machine, and look how much, I can't remember how much those things cost, but you can order those online, and that's what we got. We got about two or three of them and set them up, and this is a great thing that the kids can do in the weight room. Um, every single day after they get done lifting, and work on it every day, catching a couple hundred. And they even have a great time having contests who can go, catch as many in a row or whatever, and keep it up on the board. And it's just it's a great drill to develop hands. Okay, the next thing we want to do to develop our hands is now we're going to use a football and do what we call the clock and freeze drill. Okay, now the clock and the freeze drill, basically what you want to do with that, and when we talk about a clock on a person's body, we want to catch a ball here. All right, we're going to catch a ball right there above the head. We're going to catch a ball below the waist. We want to catch a ball to the left of the receiver, and we want to catch a ball to the right of receiver outside their body frame. Everything we do in this deal is we want the ball to be caught outside the body frame. Okay, and one of the things that we want to do at the end of this, why we say freeze, is I want the receivers, after they catch the football, I want them to stop, freeze it, and I want them to look for 2 solid seconds, and I want them to see how they place their fingertips and their hands on the ball. And I want them to understand how to place their hands on the ball and what it feels like to catch it right, to catch it wrong, and to see where you placed your hands at when you caught it wrong and it feels weird and crazy, and you probably would have dropped it. So I want them to see when they place their hands on the football, and the only way to do that is just to freeze it and get a picture of it and get a snapshot of it of how you did place your hands. Another thing that we want to do to evaluate is when the ball is caught on the sides. When you catch it out here and you catch it out here, don't tell the receiver anything. Just let him go through this drill, and then as a coach, you want to watch and see, is he a guy that backhands balls to the left or to the right, or does he put his pinkies together open hand and catch them that way? And then what you do is, as a coach, you mentally go, okay, this kid right here, number 19, he likes to backhand balls to the left, so he backhands balls to the left, but he puts his pinkies together to the right. And so knowing that information will help you out down the line if a kid is having a hard time, say, as you're charting catches, that this guy right here is dropping, an alarming number of footballs to his right. And then maybe you can say, all right, here's what I want you to do, buddy. I want you to start backhanding balls to the right, as opposed to, having your pinkies together, or opposite. Say, okay, you've been trying to backhand everything to the right. It's not working out for you, man. All right, let's put our pinkies together. And in this drill, you can see what comes natural. Like I said, don't tell the receiver, just throw a football at him and see how he naturally tries to catch it. And then you can go from there and evaluate. So let's watch a couple of these. We're going to run in place. All right, so it just gives the illusion that that you're running and down the field or towards the quarterback. All right, and as you can see here, all right, he likes to backhand to his left. All right, as you can see him freezing. All right, now he's going to come back here. He's going to catch one. All right, now let's look at him. Does he backhand here too? Yeah, he likes to backhand to his right as well. All right. So what we'll do is we'll remember that and say this kid here likes to backhand both uh, to both sides. And then the thing that is really important, and this is like an obvious statement, but really helps, I think, the kids to understand, is that when they're catching a ball below their waist, that they want their pinkies together, but they're really basically trying to get their fingertips underneath the bottom half of the ball. And the reason I tell them that is so if they do not catch it clean, then at least it's going to pop up towards their chest and not down to the ground. You see a lot of guys will just try to put their hands out to the side and catch the sides of the football. You want your pinkies together, scoop that thing up like a shortstop, get your fingertips up underneath the bottom portion of the ball, and then if you don't catch it clean, well, at least it'll pop up and you'll have a second chance at it. Same thing with catching a ball above your head. You want to get your fingertips, fight to get your fingertips to the top half of the ball. All right. And so if you don't catch it clean, well, then worst case scenario is it will fall straight down and you'll have a second chance at it and not pop up in the air for somebody else to catch it. Okay, let's look at how this guy catches the ball natural here. All right, as you can see here, he likes to backhand to his left. All right, he likes to backhand to his left. All right, now let's look at him when they throw the ball here to his right. He's a pinkies together guy. All right, so now he's a pinkies together guy right there, as you see that. So now, basically, if he has problems, catching the ball to the left or to the right, we can say, okay, let's try something new and something different. See if we can help you out. So that's the reason for the clock in freeze drill. All right, now let's look at some clips here of us catching some balls in competition. And we're looking up here at this receiver up top, and really you're going to get the better look from behind here, because this is really, you watch his eyes here. You can see his eyes staying on that football through the whole thing, even through some contact there. He's got his eyes and really keeping his eyes focused and freezing that catch right there. And that's basically what the clock and freeze drill is for right there. All right, let's look at this kid here. We're going to run, I think, a whip route. And then what this catch is going to be below his waist. Look at his eyes. And that's a really good job right there. Look at his fingertips underneath the bottom half of the ball. And look at his eyes right there, freezing it. And that really promotes your eyes being freezing on the ball and then watching it all the way into your tuck. Great job. Okay, and then one more. As he goes up for this ball, look at his eyes froze on that football. Look at his eyes staying on that football all the way into the tuck. Look at him all the way into the tuck. That's a great job. Okay, the next drill that we have here is our cone drill. This is a pretty essential drill for receivers. Working on toe sticks, low pad level, sticking their toe in the ground, opening up their hips at the proper angle of where they're going. I guess one of the biggest coaching points of this is don't allow the kids to bring their feet together just to kind of time up their toe stick when they get to a cone. They need to have even strides and stick off of even strides, pump their arms, but just watch their strides. Don't let them bring their feet together, and make sure they're planning off of even strides. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the foot fire drill, and that's where you're going to be in a close proximity, get a lot of cones, about 5 or 6 cones here, really close, and you're pumping your arms. And what this helps you is releases and foot fire, working your fast feet, getting a good stick and go one way or the other. And the coaching point on this drill is to make sure you get as many steps in as possible. It's not a race. We're not trying to get through this thing fast. Take as much time as you need, get as many steps in as you can, and give a great toe stick. All right, the next drill we got is, or the next cone we have is the 45-degree angle. All right, as you watch this kid here, make sure, like I said, you're getting even strides. We're not bringing our feet together just to get our toes stuck right there on the cone. If it's right before the cone or after the cone, that's fine, but make sure it's an even stride. Make sure that we're pumping our arms. We're at a very nice low pad level right there. It's a great job. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your near elbow and you're going to thrust that elbow back, as you see this kid taking his elbow, thrusting it back, which opens up the hips to your target. That's the biggest thing, is we're looking at this elbow right here. You see him tuck that elbow. He's going to thrust it back, which is going to open up his hips to that next angle there at the 45-degree angle. Once again, watch his elbow here. As you can see him bring his elbow, the inside elbow right here. You'll watch him tuck that thing and pump it, thrust it back, which opens up his hips to the target. All right, the next one is going to be the 90-degree angle. And here you can see these guys are working release off of their cone drill just to get an added extra time working releases, which is good. Fast hands, fast feet, clear the elbow and rip, stick. See, watch him get nice even stride right there. And here Coach is doing a great job. Coach Watts is doing a great job. See him, he had the hand up right here. All right. We got a hand up right there, which basically is saying, telling that receiver we want to be in very low pad level. Make sure that when you stick your toe in the ground that you're going to be up underneath this level right here. I like to do that on the end of hitches and stop routes and things like that, and make sure that they're staying low, because in order to be low, you got to be leaning forward with your nose, over your toes, and that's a great position that kid is in right there. Finishing the drill, nice even strides, toe stick. All right, and then here we go. You see Coach Wasden here at Troy, and what they did is, seen Coach Dykes do this at Texas Tech, is now you're going to put all 3 of those cone drills in one drill. So basically the way you spread it out is right here. Now you got your fast feet. All right, foot fire drill right here. Okay, and then they're going to go right here to the 90-degree, and then they come out here to the 45. And now you get all of your work done at one time. This is a great drill for the kids to come out and even do it on their own, do it in the summers, and it's a great pre-practice warm-up drill. As you'll notice, a lot of our drills are not high intensity. We're not looking to get them tired. We're looking to get them better technique. So here this kid does it. Watch, he does a really good job of nice even strides, toe stick, not bringing his feet together. The stride and stick drill is once again another really good warm-up drill, game day warm-up drill. When you first get out onto the field, something to just to kind of get loose and get warmed up. It's a great drill to do. And what we're looking for, and what this drill tries to teach, is when we do a toe stick, we don't want to take. You see a lot of kids will really step really far outside their body frame, which is, once you get too far outside your body frame and elongate your stick or your stride, then it really hurts the step after that, which and that's what slows you down. And so what we want to do is this drill is just kind of run this drill down the line, and we never want to get off of the line. And we're working on our head lean, and we're working on our toe stick being right up underneath our shoulder, and not being too wide outside of our body frame, but just slightly outside with a good lean right there. And I make those guys look at me. I'm looking into their eyes, because a lot of times receivers, when they're running a pass route, they come off the ball and they're looking at the ground. But I want them looking into my eyes, coming right at me, and I want to feel them lean, and I want to feel their toe stick and their head stick. And it teaches them, don't, you do, when you stick a route, stick your toe in the ground, it doesn't have to be this giant stick outside of their body frame. It needs to be a nice even strided stick, but use your body lean, your head lean, and all of that stuff to help influence the defender. And we're going to see a couple clips here in just a minute of guys doing a good job of using them in competition situations. Make sure that they're working their hands and their head. All right, here we go. We're looking down here at the bottom. This guy's going to run a post, and you can see at the top of the route, it's going to give a nice toe stick with a good body and head lean and stick right there. All right, looking at this guy in the middle here. He's going to actually run a post, and he's a kid that does a really good job of leaning his body to try to influence the defender. We'll look at it from behind here. As you watch him, he's going to stem him and really run as he's leaning, and he's going to toe stick, probably a little bit outside of his body frame that I'd like, but still not a bad job. And then this kid's going to run a corner right here with the arrow. He does a super job pumping the arms. You can see him, looks like just like we did on the drill. Attack the defender, head lean, toe stick, running the route. All right, the next route I want to talk about is top of the route. I'm sure you're like me, you have the hardest time of keeping your guys low at the top of the route, especially when it's a route that's run probably, past 10 yards or so, and you start getting in an intermediate 15-yard where you're running down the field. Kids have a tendency to really kind of put the brakes on and lean back. And I have found this is one of the toughest things to coach in all of football, is to be nice and low at the top of the route, getting your nose over your toes. What I tell the kids is your stance, how your body position in your stance, that picture that we're looking at right there, should be exactly the same picture we look at when you get to the top of your route. We should be able to take this picture, insert that picture right there, and it should look exactly the same. But as we all know, a lot of times the kids, they'll be leaning back this way, all right, because they're putting the brakes on, and they're dropping their butt and their head back, and it's just a recipe for disaster. Number one, you're going to slip and fall, especially if it's raining. Two, you're telegraphing your route to the defensive back, who gets a better break on the ball. So what we discovered is I was looking at a route from one of the coaches, who I think it was Coach Watts, where we had to come out and touch a cone, and then I found my guys would get here and they were still leaning back because all they had to do was just tap the cone. And so what I came up with was, hey, let's put a ball on top of the cone where you actually have to pick it up, set it down, which just makes them concentrate a little bit more on getting their weight forward, getting their nose over their toes. And so what we do is we come out, and we're going to get down and make sure we take that ball off of the cone, and we have to look at it. So we're taking the ball off the cone, all right, and then setting it right back down, and then coming back, catching the ball, and then just like all of our drills, after we catch the ball in any drill, we want to turn straight up the field. Look at him, look the ball into his tuck right there, and then get straight up the field. Once again, doesn't have to be a high intensity drill. Right there, want to pick that ball up off the cone, almost sit your nose on it. Tight turn, look the ball in. Great drill for just illustrating what your body position should be like at the top of the route. We go to the right side, and then we'll come back to the left. You just got to make sure you get the ball out of the way so the next guy doesn't break his ankle, and then you get fired. All right, let's look at this receiver down here at the bottom, and he's going to run some form of intermediate route where he has to stick it and stop. And as you can see, you know, I yell out to him all the time before curls, stops, hitches, and I'll just yell out, top of the route, and they'll know exactly what I'm talking about because of the top of the route drill. I want them right there in that position, taking that cone, or taking that ball off that cone right there, and being in a nice low position right there. And that's why we do. Okay, one of my favorite drills, because it kind of goes along with our streaks, which is, my favorite route, our receiver's favorite route. And if you're going to be good at the streaks, and you're going to do all of the techniques that we teach our kids, and catch the ball over your shoulder, you got to really practice this, because this is a lot of people think this is a very easy catch, but it's not. One of the coaching points on this thing is we want to take our hands up to the ball. I don't like what this kid does. I don't like catching it like in the basket like this, because what happens is that ball comes down. Look at his eyes. As you can see, that ball comes down from here to here so fast that if you think you're just going to be able to keep your eyes on that football and watch it hit your hands, you're mistaken. I like for guys that at the last second they'll take their hands outstretched and they'll take them up to the ball and keep them in your vision. That way you will actually see the football touch your fingertips. In this case right here, when you just let it drop in the old basket, there's no way you can see that football hit your hands. All right, it just happens so fast. We want to take our hands up into our vision. A lot of people say, well, won't the defensive back knock your hands down? Well, if you use the technique that we talk about, that we'll talk about here in a minute with where we use collision and we restack and all that stuff, you won't have to worry about it. All right, but make sure you extend your hands, take them up to the football, and catch them in your line of sight. Okay, let's watch another one here. I like where his hands, watch his eyes, because we are always going to try to catch that ball over the outside shoulder. We're always going to try to catch that ball over the outside shoulder. We want to one of the catches that we made this year to win a conference championship, or to put ourselves in position to win a conference championship, was a catch very similar where a kid had to just sprawl out directly to his right and catch that ball. Very, very hard catch over the outside shoulder that was very similar to this, with a dive added to it, and catching it diving just like that. And we feel like this drill really helps us out. Okay, here we go down here. As you can see how this drill helps us out, and we have plenty of clips. We'll look at that. I mean, that's exactly what the drill is. We're going to look at that from behind, because this is why we do that drill. We're going to separate and catch that ball over the outside shoulder. You will do that so many times in this offense, so we must have a drill for that. Okay, here we go. We are looking over here, and once again, we're gonna watch a guy catch the ball over his outside shoulder. We're gonna look at this from behind. We are gonna be right over here. Okay, he's gonna go out of your screen, then come right back into your screen, and then watch this catch, catching it over the outside shoulder. See how he takes his hands up into his eye level right there. Make sure you extend your hands up to the football, catch it over that outside shoulder. All right, here's the catch I was talking about. It's down here. Um, why we do the over the shoulder drill. Big play in this game in the fourth quarter. Nice job right there. Let's look at it from behind. Here he is, and over the shoulder, diving out. Nice job. Okay, now we're looking down here. Watch this kid. Another reason why we do the over the shoulder drill, because you're going to be in this situation every single day in practice and in every game. Then let's watch one more. Okay, let's talk about releases. And what we're going to do here is the first portion of this release video is we have a couple terms that we use when we're coaching kids, and I think a lot of times we're guilty as coaches. We throw these terms out and we don't really explain and don't give illustrations to kids of exactly what they mean. So what I've done is put together some illustrations of some terms that we use when a kid has to get a release. And then give them a visual here so they know exactly what we're talking about when we use these terms when we're coaching them. The first thing we talk about is getting our release with our hands, the combat that takes care of the hands, and what we're going to show you is there's really two ways to when you're using your hands to get a release. One is what we call a punch. What back in the old days they used to say swim, and the reason we've turned it into punch is because we don't want the kids getting the idea of we're swimming, because whenever you say that, the kids tend to get a really high action with their arm. We don't want that. We just want them to punch their hand across over top of the defensive back's hand, because that's all the higher you need to get it. You don't need to get it above any higher than above his wrist. So that's the punch technique, and then the other one is the rip technique. And I know most of us are familiar with the rip technique, and that's where we come from underneath the hands of the DB and rip up to swipe the hands away. So the first thing we're going to look at is a rip here, and we're going to go in slow motion. As you can see, we're going to with the the far hand, we're going to swipe the elbow, and then we're going to rip up through with our hands. So swipe the elbow, rip up through. Swipe the elbow, rip up through. And then here it comes on the other hand. Swipe the elbow, rip up through. All right, and then here now is the punch, okay, which is the old swim. See, because all it needs to do, really, all you need to do is work your fingertips across the wrist of the defensive back, and you're going to win by applying the pressure downward, just like that. So that's our punch technique right there. We're going to clear the elbow and then down with the punch. Okay, so now you know what we're talking about when we say punch or rip. Okay, another term that we like to use, that I like to use, is we talk about getting our arm through. What does that mean when we yell out to the kid, you got to get your arm through? Basically what it is we are trying to get the closest arm through the defensive back and onto the other side. And then we'll talk about restacking, but that's the first thing you have to do, getting your arm through. And here's a series of drills using the rip and the punch, but we're going to watch this guy and he's going to work, and this is a great idea. that Troy uses where you're getting your releases on the line, so he gets back over top, and it's easily evaluated. He gets back over top of the line, but see, as you see his arm, he's going to rip it through. Now he's going to get, you're basically trying to get that shoulder down and get your arm all the way through his body, then back up on the other side. That's what we call getting our arm through right there. And he's going to take his right arm and get his arm through on the other side. All right. Now he's going to use the punch technique, but we're still doing the same thing right there. That's what I call getting your arm through. See how he's thrusting his arm up through, thrust the arm up through. After he used a punch technique, he punched it, all right, and then ripped up. All right, he punches it and then rips up and gets his arm through. Okay, now we're going to look at some video, some illustrations of some guys getting their arm through, and we're going to We're going to look up here, and it's just a very subtle move that you got to watch, pay attention to. But you can see the separation happens after we get our arm through. Watch him as he's going to get an inside release on this corner, and then rip up with the arm through, and then look at the separation. And so when I talk to kids about getting their arm through, we show them this film. They know what we're talking about, getting his arm through. Okay, let's look at the next one. We're going to look at this from behind. And this, now sometimes getting your arm through doesn't happen for 10 yards down the field. And this is a good illustration of that. He's going to work a release. Here he goes. Got really nice. I love his stance, low pad level. That is great stuff. Look at that, good pad level. Now he's going to run. Now look, he's fighting. He knows. Now look at his shoulder. His shoulder is behind the defensive back shoulder. So basically what he needs to do is get his left arm through that defensive back. And now there's two ways of doing it. You can bring it from up underneath, or you can bring it from over the top. And as you can see right here, he's going to subtly bring his arm up over top and get his arm through right there. And now he's in a restack position. All right, let's look at another one. We're going to look down here. All right, and he's just going to use a subtle rip right through. You see that, getting his arm through. He's going to run, rip, get his arm through, and restack. Okay, now we're going to look down here. This guy's going to get an inside release. All right, so he's going to take his outside arm and he's going to work it through that defensive back and get it on the other side of that defensive back. And rip, you see him just reach back and rip that thing through there, and he gets his arm through, and there you got the restack position. So we try to break it down, talk to them about, well, you didn't get your arm through, or you did get your arm through, and they know what we're talking about. I want to look at this one from behind, so you're over here looking at this guy right there. Watch him get his outside arm through with a big rip right there. Nice job. Okay, now the other term that we're going to talk about before we get to our actual releases is restack, and we all have used this term, restack, get back over the top, however you want to use, but I wanted to put it on film so kids understand, oh, this is an illustration of a restack. This is what restack looks like when you do it properly. So this kid's going to get an inside release now. That is restacking the defender. And basically it's self-explanatory. It's when you started out on this side of them, and then now you're on the other side of them, stacked directly over top of them. That's a great picture to use when you're coaching kids. This is what restack is supposed to look like. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, now he is going to get an outside release. All right, so now he goes outside, but he's going to get his arm through. He's going to get his arm through. Look at him really fighting. Look at that. He's leaning back into the defensive back, and he's going to get his shoulder on the other side of his shoulder, and now we would say he's in a restacked position right there. Very good. All right, let's look at another one. We're going to look at here and watch the end result here. He does a really good job of restacking this guy. Watch it all the way through. Gets around him and then restacks him, and now he's directly behind him, and that's what we call restacking. All right, let's watch one more. Okay, we're going to be looking at this guy right there. Back over the top, and he got him restacked. All right, here we go against catch technique, which is predominantly used with cover zero. Now he knows he's got to get around him and then restack him. Very good. Now you see him lean back in. He made sure he restacked him before he went to the portion, the post, and of his stem, and restacked him. Another great illustration of restacking. All right. Okay, here we go. Now this brings us to the certain types of releases, and the first one we're going to talk about is the just go. And it's self-explanatory. We're just going to go at the snap of the ball. We're not going to bring our feet together. We're not going to use fast feet, foot fire. We're just taking off running. And I got some good examples of what happens to defensive backs when you can do this effectively. But this is a really good change-up release. Um, One of the things, the big coaching point on using this is when you do a just go release, you must pick a spot. And let me get behind here. Is say you're going to do a just go release. If I'm going to go outside, you want to pick a spot, a good, there's 1 yard, that would be 2 yards. You're going to pick a spot 2 yards outside of him and really run wide. And the reason you do this is you're going to avoid all contact, but also it's going to make the defensive back do something. He's not going to just be able to stand there and put his hands on you. He's going to have to take off running too. And then once you can get him moving, and then you can do certain things to him. If you go inside, he's going to have to pick a spot. There's 1 yard. All right, there's 2 yards. So we're going to pick a spot 2 yards outside of his body frame. We're going to pick a spot 2 yards outside of his body frame, and we're going to run to that area as fast as we can and then make a decision. Here, I believe he's going to go inside right here. He's going to go to the left, and he's going to take off and just go. Now, once you just go, now you can make a decision of ripping and getting your arm through right there and restacking him. Really nice job. Okay, here we go again. Now he's going to just go. If he wants to just go to the left, he's going to pick a spot 2 yards outside of his body frame and go, and just try to outrun him to that spot. Same if he goes inside. There he goes outside now. You just got to go and restack. He does a good job of restacking after his just go. All right, and that's fine. That's a good job. Now, a lot of people say, well, what about the false step he takes? I don't care about that. Just go as freaking fast as you freaking can, and we'll worry about all that later. You just run as fast as you can. Get outside of his body frame as fast as you can. All right, here we go. We're going to look at some game footage down here where their arrow's at. We're going to look at a guy that's going to take a just go release outside. This is on 3rd down and 2, and he's going to use a just go release on a go route. All right, so he's going to pick a spot 2 yards outside of his body frame and take off right now. Look how he almost catches him. The DBs that are taught to sit there and wait on you and to just watch you foot fire and then react, if you will take off fast and quick right here, a lot of times you can get on the other side of them before they even know what happened. And here's a great illustration. This kid restacks this defensive back within a 5-yard box using a just go release. Bingo, right there. That's really nice. Good job. Ball's underthrown a little bit. He breaks up the interception. We come back. This is the very next play on 4th and 2 on ESPN. And my man now is going to use a just go release inside. Watch him. And then he's going to get back into the body frame and run a post and score a touchdown. This is good stuff. Just go release. Inside. Go. Now get back in on his hip. Stick and run your post and score a touchdown and spike the ball. You're not allowed to spike the ball in college. Okay, the next release that we're going to talk about is the single move. This is with foot fire, and this is probably the one that most kids try to attempt the first time. That's where you get your feet moving. You work a half of the body of the defender. With really quick feet, the foot fire, and then you're going to just give a really good toe stick one way or the other and take off opposite your toe stick. And I guess the coaching point that you need to know on this is just make sure that you're not just standing there moving your feet, that you're actually working inside half or an outside half of his body. Don't just sit down and work down the middle of his body, because really he doesn't have to do anything if you do that, except sit there and wait on you. So as you can see, the receiver here, he's going to work an inside half and then stick and go, and he's going to use the rip technique, as you can see right there. He's going to swipe the elbow. Look at him really pop that elbow. If you could hear the sound on this tape, you could really hear their elbows getting smacked, and then restacking, getting back over the top. All right, here we go. Another foot fire with a single move. See, it's just one stick move and go, and again restacks him. All right, here we go in one-on-ones. Work him, toe stick, and go. All right, here we go. Next clip. He's going to work him. This is down on the goal line. Work his feet. Another thing that I failed to mention here early is the work your hands. You got to give a really nice low stance and then work fast hands. Your hands ought to be working as fast or faster than your feet. Work them. It gives the illusion that you're coming off the ball. It gives the illusion that you're a little bit faster than what you really are moving. And it doesn't get your hands are always working, and then I think they'll be more in a position to do hand combat as well. All right, let's look at another one. Here we go. Toe stick and go. Foot fire, toe stick, go. Okay, here we go, working some in games. All right, we're looking down here. All right, we're not going to actually get the ball right here, but it's a really good release. Toe stick and go. Oh, he did throw him the ball. Maybe we dropped it. Fast hands, you could see his hands moving fast. Fast feet, one stick and go and restack. Just a little bit overthrown. But that was a really good job. All right, now we're going to be looking right down here. Stick and go, and then also, actually both of them. Watch this guy here. He probably does a better job. He works him inside, does one toe stick, works him, stick, looks for the football, jumps up, catches it. Nice job. Okay, now what we're going to do, this is my favorite release, is the double move with foot fire. That's where we foot fire. And then you're actually going to plant hard. Your initial plant is going to be in the direction that you want to go. So if I want to go to the outside, I'm going to work the guy, stick hard with this foot, go back with another foot, and then that's where I'm going to release. Stick, stick, there you go. That's a double move. Some people call it a two-step. Fast hands, fast feet, stick, stick. Remember, your initial toe stick is going to go the direction you want to go. Stick, stick, there you go. Nice job. All right. Watch the effects of a guy that uses this every now and then, especially when he needs to. Watch him down here. Stick, stick, there you go. Blows him right out of the water. Boom, boom. That's a great job right there. Beautiful. All right. Here we go again. Stick, stick. So the initial stick is going to be with his right foot because that's where he wants to go. And when the DBs start cheating and they think you're going to go off your first toe stick, that's when you're going to really blow them out of the water and get those type of results right there. Good job with the restack and stepping on the guy as well. All right, let's watch another one with foot fire. Foot fire, jab, jab. With foot fire, jab, jab. Lean back in on him. There we go. Nice. All right, here we go again right here. This is going to be foot fire and then a double move. 1, 2. Giving him the old 1, 2 right there in a restack. Good. All right, here we go. Now I put this on here because he does use a little bit of, he's going to use a change up release and then do the two-step. This is really nice right here. All right, here we go. Foot fire, 1-2. Nice job. Same guy. He's going to widen out, make it look like he's running the slant. He's going to work foot fire, and then 1-2. Nice job. 1-2. Beautiful. That's good stuff right there. Here's another one. Foot fire, jab, jab. It's going to jab hard the way that he wants to go. The initial step. Come back with another one. Here we go. Work his feet, and then he's going to two-step and work his feet. 1-2. Right over the top. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing, except we're not going to foot fire. All right, we're just going to come right off the ball, jab, jab, and go. Jab, jab, and go. Jab, jab, and go. Just come right off the ball, 1-2, and go. Good job, Reese Tacking. All right, here we go again. Remember now that we're not going to foot fire, we're just going to come off, bam, bam. 1-2. Jab, jab. There it is. Get back in on him. All right. Okay, now the next release we're going to talk about is the diamond release. And that is where your intentions, you're trying to get the defensive back to think you're going one way for a good full 3 steps, and then you're going to come back the other way. Trying to get his body committed to covering you one way and then you coming back the other way. Now there's 2 ways to work a diamond release. You can work it with foot fire or you can work it without foot fire, just like we saw with the double move. This is diamond release with foot fire right here. All right. So he's going to bring foot fire, take off one way or the other, 3 full steps, get the DB's body going one way, and then shove by underneath. And then you got to get your outside arm and get it through, right through there. There you go. Nice job. All right, here we go again. We're going to get some foot fire, and then go one way. Now bring it back the other. Here's another one, foot fire, get him going one way. Foot fire, get him going one way, throw him, come back the other. Here we go in some one-on-one situations, as you can see down here. Work his feet, go one way, bring it back the other way. And then you got to be very physical and get him off of you and shove him by when you bring it back. Here we go. This is with foot fire, get him going one way and then come back up underneath. Okay, now I want to give you some illustrations of what a diamond release looks like without foot fire. Basically, you're making it look like a just go release. So look up top here. You're making it look just like a just go release. You're taking off running without foot fire, get him going, and then cross it over. This is a great auxiliary release to the just go, the diamond without foot fire. Here it is in a game type situation. Get him going one way, cross his body, come back the other. Okay, here's some one-on-one clips. Okay, now a lot of times people think, okay, um, the diamond release is just for slants and outside releases. Not true. Here is what we call, it's a diamond release, but it's going inside, and you're basically taking off inside, figuring that the DB is going to try to cut you off, and then now you're going to go back over top of him right there and go vertical. That's a great release to use every now and then to run a fade with. That's a great job, man. That is a really, really good job of a diamond release going inside. Okay, here's another one. Let's look at it from behind. Take off, bring it back up underneath. Sometimes the DB could be so far away from you or cheating so far inside that you might not even have to use your hands, and you just got to get open with your release, with your feet, by quick feet and running as fast as you can. All right, here we go again. Should be just go to the outside. Now bring it back up underneath. Now, if you live in a perfect world, you don't want to get too far outside his body frame, um, because you can't control him with your shove by technique. But sometimes you beat him so bad that you know you don't even you're so far away from him you don't have a chance to get your hands back on him. All right, let's look at last one here. That's a good one right there. Watch how violently he comes back up underneath him. Bam, go. And it so subtly you can't see it, but watch him work his hands, get his hands knocked down, and make sure. Let me see if I can get this pause. It happens so fast. Get that hand through right there and make sure he can't get you, and then it's over. Okay, the change up release. This is just some things that you can do to basically what I say screw with a defensive back. You don't want to give them the look every time, and a lot of times these can be used, once a day, once every 2 days, um, and then also on some run plays that you're getting a lot of press. What can you do to don't? One of our big sayings is we don't want the defensive back to breathe. We don't want to give him a play off. We don't want to allow him to rest. We don't want him to, there's no brother-in-law system going on where you guys can hang out. Okay, I'm not doing anything, you don't do anything. Let's both get a rest type deal. We don't want to do that. We want to physically inflict some type of. We want to. Let's just say this: we want to impose our will upon the defensive back. All right, so working our change-up release here. One of the things you can do is just kind of stand up just like this guy's doing and take one little slow delayed step like, hey, what's going on, and then go take off as fast as you can. Go from slow to fast really quick, and this kid does a great job of that right there. And you'll see we have a clip of that here. A guy using that same release right there. He's just going to slow change up and then go fast, and look how quick he gets on the other side of him. That's a really good job. Okay, here it is being worked in a game type situation. Notice it's third down, big situation in the game. Got to get this first down. He's going to use that same release, just a nice slow little change up, and then burst. Nice job. Okay, here we go. Now let's look over here to the left. And now we're going to start talking about some of our just being physical releases, where basically I can kind of put this in the most politically correct way, or I can just say, come off the ball and knock the ever-living crap out of the defensive back. All right? And just try to knock the piss out of them. Okay? And that's what we're going to do right here with this guy over here to the left. He's just going to come off, and we're trying to get defensive backs that are kind of on their heels a little bit, reading what we're doing, and then just fly right off the ball and hit him right in the chest and knock him back. That's a good job right there. All right, let's go. Same here with this guy right here. and just run him over. What we want to do with this guy does a really good job is he's going to make it look like he's using a just go release. And as soon as that DB crosses over, apply pressure, take your forearm, put it right in his rib cage, and try to run over him, step on his neck on the way across. There you go. Nice job. Here we go. We're going to do the same thing with this guy. Just come off. Just come off and make contact. And then before he can recover, you run your route. All right, here we go again. We're right down here. Actually, we'll look at it from this point of view and just come off the ball and thrust upward and out. Nice job. Okay, now here we are in a game type situation, and this is a very same thing right here. Come off. Let's go. He got him leaning a little bit and then pile drive him. Nice job. Okay, then the next one here. Now this is something you definitely got to do on a run play. You're going to come off, look him in the eye, and then cut him. That's a really nice job. Here we go again. Same thing. This is your chance on run plays. They're going to try to hit you on plays across the middle and cheap shot you and hit you in the back. And this is your chance to hit them. Nice job right there. Plus, it gives him something else to think about. Is this guy going to run a go route, or is he going to take his shoulder pad and put it 2 inches above my play side kneecap and try to hit my leg so hard that my heel hits the back of my helmet? Nice work. All right, next we have our group release work, and it's a very efficient way for you to evaluate and watch several guys get a release at the same time, so it doesn't take so much time doing it one at a time. And here you're going to see some group release work, and what you want to do is make sure that everybody is coming off the sideline, and you're straddling one of the yard lines across the field, because you want to be able to evaluate, did the player restack, get back over the top, and get back down on that line, and that teaches them, that gives them an aiming point to get right back on the line. And basically you can just choose what release you want to work on that day, or work on all of them. And as you see the coaches back behind there, that you just stand back here and tell them, hey, I want you guys, okay, the quarterback's on the left, quarterback's on the left this time, and we're going to work an outside release. So everybody's going to work maybe a single move or a double move or a just go release or whatever, but we're going to be releasing outside and getting back over the top, outside, getting back over the top, outside, getting back over the top. Here, as you can read, quarterback on the left, an inside release, working several different techniques. You can work, like I said, the just go, or the foot fire double move, foot fire single move. And it's just a great way of evaluating, and that way you can get 4 or 5 guys watching them all at one time. And there, as you see them working the diamond release with no foot fire. All right, the next release we got here, work is the low pad level. Used mostly, all receivers will have to know low pad level, but mostly the inside receivers are going to have to use this predominantly because they go against hole players and linebackers that are just going to sit there and try to collision them and then drop to their area. So here, as you can see, you can do this drill with dummies. You can use it with human beings, but basically, you can set the dummies up. Here's one dummy, or you can put a person there, a dummy, every 10 yards, and basically they're going to jog, get a pad level, low pad level, one way or the other, low pad level, one way or the other, and just work the drill. All right, here we go with a coach here. As you can see, we're going to stem the whole player, and then we're going to work the low pad level. And really, when we say low pad level, you're basically that defensive back has a job, and his job is to try to hit this shoulder, all right, the front of the shoulder, and knock your shoulder back. Knock your shoulder back this way. If he can knock your shoulder back that way, your hips will open up. All right, and that is what he wants you to do, because it'll slow you down. If he can get your hips opened up, it slows you down. Your job is to don't give up that surface area, and shut that surface area down by closing that shoulder and getting it as low as possible and ripping through. And then getting back over the top. We do this in pat and go every day. And here's give a great illustration of us getting some low pad level on a player. We have a kid here that does just a tremendous job of this. Let's look at it from behind. He's going to stem that whole player, and he's going to run a corner out, but he's got to get by him. And watch, he does a great job of really turning the back and giving that defensive player nothing but the back of his shoulder, which once that defensive back, all he has to hit is that shoulder, and you can rip and get it up through. He actually helps you and pushes you into your route. And that's a nice job. Let's watch him again. Stem, low pad level, back over the top. Nice work. All right, here it is in game type situation, looking at the player with the arrow. Low pad level, get around that whole player. Low pad level, get around the whole player. Nice. All right, here's an outside receiver, and you're going to see him get a low pad level here. He's going to work a release. He's going to work a just go. I believe it might be a just go inside release, but I know he's going to try to get inside of him. And then he's going to work a low pad level and dip that outside shoulder and get it really low. Go. Get that low pad level, does a great job, gets his arm through. Low pad level, gets his arm through, and runs a nice shake route. Okay, here we go. We're looking at that inside player where the arrow's at. Low pad level, then run a sail route. Nice. Another great drill to work on pre-practice is the stem drill. What you want to do is on the stem drill is you're teaching your players to square up the defender, and playing wide receiver. What you want to do is not allow the defensive backs to cheat. They're going to try to get on one side or the other and close you off from running on one side and then just playing you, knowing that you're going to either be going outside of them or going inside of them. However, they're going to line up on you. Your job as a receiver is to fight against that. Get yourself in a position where now you threaten the defender and you can go either way on him. So the stem drill is something that teaches your receivers that. Okay, here, as you can see, you got a defender lining up, whether it be outside or inside. But here's the defender, and let's suppose that the ball's on the inside, or it doesn't really matter. But what we're going to do is we're going to get to a point now where we're here, and then we're going to get in a squared up position on the defender, and now he doesn't know if we're going this way or we're going this way. And that's a really good job. So as you see, is he what I call, if he was inside, I would say that he dug him out right there. But he gets in a head-up position, and now the defender is threatened, and now he has to cover both sides of the field. Can't just pick a side. That's a good job. Okay, and then here you can see they're doing just like they did on releases. You can get a lot of work done by going group stem work, and it can be right after you get done with your releases or right before you do your release work. You can get them on a line there and then work on your stems with some group stem work. And here's a look at the group stem work from behind. As you can see, they're stepping hard inside, getting in a squared up position to where they can be a threat to the defensive back going either left or going right. The next drill we got is uh, basically it's in advance after the cone drills and the stem drills. Um, what you're going to do is work on your toe stick here, but you're also working on your stem of the corner and the post. And then another thing that we like to talk about in this drill is our aiming points out of the break. So here we put the ball inside the 25-yard line. So our aiming point coming out for the corner should be this back pylon right here. And then also what we talk about is once we stick our toe in the ground, let's see where we're going. Get our eyes on our target and stick our toe in the ground here, and then we are going to take 3 steps towards our target, our aiming point, our landmark, and then we're going to look for the football. Stick. So here we go. So it's got stem involved. Like I said, it's a drill that you would use after you got done doing your cone drill and your stem drill. And then it brings in the toe stick and getting 3 steps towards your target on the corner before you look for the ball. And then as he's looking for the ball, it needs to be up in the air, not back at the quarterback, because the ball should be in the sky halfway to the receiver. So we're going to run to the corner, and then we'll come right back out, and we'll do it off of the post. And these guys are being a little ambitious in this drill. I think they were excited that they were going to be in a movie, but really you don't. It's not a drill that you have to go full speed. You can work on, half speed as a pre-practice warm-up drill. Because, like I said, our aim is not to get them tired, but to get them better. All right, here we go. Now let's look and see. After doing this drill and working on this, you could see how it works in competition. We're going to stem the defender. We're going to stick our toe in the ground and watch him take 3 full steps to his target before he looks for the ball, and then he looks up high into the sky for the football. All right, now looking down here with the red arrow on this receiver, he's going to run a post in this situation. Okay, and watch him as he sticks his toe in the ground. Here he's going to stick, and then look at him take it. This kid's he was really good at this, and he felt comfortable taking about 5 steps to the post before he looked for the ball, because it really helped him with his speed. And that way, like I said before, it teaches your kids not to open up that shoulder and turn all the way back to the quarterback, which obviously flattens you out, and then it also slows you down. This prevents you from slowing down. Once you stick your toe in the ground, we're going to look at it from behind. Once you stick your toe in the ground, man, it is a full sprint to your landmark, which obviously is the post here. As you see him, he gets inside, he's going to stick. Look at him, he's sprinting. And he's full speed. You can look at his eyes. I mean, that guy's running straight to the post right now. He's probably looking at all those defensive coaches that are in the way, because they always try to sabotage every drill that you're in and try to make it to where the defense wins. All right, here we go again. We're going to get a look at a post again. This is actually the same kid, does a really good job, sticks his toe in the ground, and there he goes running to his aiming point. And that's what we're trying to do with the corner post drill. As you watch him here, stick, and there he does a good job running to the post. Okay, we've come to our partner drills, which are essential drills that you have to work on to get good at your separation techniques. We work on these drills anytime we have any free time. We'll work on them before practice, after practice. Any players that aren't on special teams, we make sure we're working on this. Our partner drills are probably the most important drills that we work on as wide receivers. And like I said, it's very, very valuable to teaching the skills of separating, especially if you're going to get good at throwing the deep ball. So that's where we're going to start on the partners. Is we're going to work on the lean fade, the partner lean fade. And basically, what you want to do is you want to start together, both going the same way. All right, and the inside player, which is this kid right here, he represents the defensive back, and then the outside guy right here represents the wide receiver. Now, what this drill teaches is we talk to our guys a lot about being covered early and then separate and be open late. It teaches our separation techniques. We want to put our forearm into the defensive back, and we want to shove off of him at the last second and then catch the ball over the outside shoulder. We want to make sure we put the forearm into the DB and not our open hand, which obviously is offensive pass interference. So as you can see here, we're going to lean into the defender, separate late with the forearm, catching the ball over the outside shoulder. Once again, lean in, fight against the defensive back who's going to try to shove you to the sideline. You're pushing back on him, and we're putting our forearm into the defensive back's rib cage and shoving off, separating late, catching the ball over the outside shoulder. And here's a clip of a competition talking about our separation techniques and things we learn on our partner drills. All right, now the next step in the partners drills is once you've mastered the partner lean fade, we come now to the partner collision fade, and it's the next step in learning what to do against the defensive back. And basically, here's what's going to happen. Here's the quarterback. I'm the quarterback right here, and what has happened here is this is the wide receiver. Okay, so that's the wide receiver, and this is the defensive back. Okay, and we're simulating that we've gotten a release and you've gotten some separation between you and the defensive back. And the last thing we want to do is just, once we've separated ourselves from the defensive back side to side, whether we go outside or inside on any type of thing, but we do not want to just run straight down the field. What that does is turn it into a foot race. Most of the time the DBs are faster than us, and they're going to come and intersect us and knock us to the sideline. So what we want to do is get back and cause a collision in the midway point right there between our separation, and then form a wall vertical here where he's leaning into us, we're leaning into him, just like we learned previously on the partner lean fade. So basically we're just taking it a step further, and from this portion on is our partner lean fade drill. But here, from here on back, what we're doing is learning how to get back and colliding back into a defensive back once there's separation off the release. There he goes, separating into him, and then now he's just going to work his partner lean separation fade techniques from there. But we want to make sure we get back into the defensive back and separate late. Get into the defensive back. There you go, lean, and then separate late, catching the ball over the outside shoulder. And that's what we learn off of our partner collision. Get into the DB and then push off, with your forearm, separating late, catching the ball over the outside shoulder. Here's a competition clip. As you can see, there's the separation between the wide receiver and the DB, and that's where we get the drill from. As you can see, both of them are pretty much even. The DB slightly ahead of the wide receiver. And now we want to get back into him. As he comes to get back into us, we're creating a collision point midway between our separation, and then from there on we're leaning into each other, forming a wall, and then we're going to separate late, catching the ball over the outside shoulder. Separate late, outside shoulder. Here we go again, another look at it. As you can see, there's the air in between the DB and the wideout. Like we talked about before, the last thing we want to do is just turn this into a foot race and run. What we want to do is get back into him and cause a collision. We want to initiate the collision with the defensive back. Get back into him, catch the ball over the outside shoulder. Let's look at it again. Now we'll be going to the left. There's the air in between the defensive back and the wide receiver. Now let's go create a collision, get back into him. Could have done even a little bit more there. There's the air. Now get back. There it is. Good. Now separate late, catching it over the outside shoulder. Here's another look at it. There's the air right there. We want to eat that up, create a collision, separate outside shoulder. Okay, now if you looked at our perfect route tape and we talked about our different throws on the verticals, on the streaks, that sometimes the quarterback is going to elect to throw a back shoulder throw. So what we want to do is turn our head at 10 yards. We don't know the decision of the quarterback. Our job is not to make a decision. Our job is to react to the decision of the quarterback. So what we're going to do is do our same partner drill with the collision, but the quarterback now is going to throw a back shoulder throw. So everything is the same. Nothing's different, except now we're just going to react to the back shoulder throw. There's our lean and then react. So we're going to collide with the defensive back, initiate the collision, react to the decision of the quarterback. Nice job there. We'll go to the right side and then go to the left. So is in this picture right here. Number 8 is the wide receiver. Number 6 is the defensive back. Number 8 should be initiating the contact, getting back in on the DB now, put the forearm into him, and then react to the back shoulder throw. Nice job. Okay, now we're going to look at some clips of competition of guys where our drill, you can see your drill being worked out versus competition here. Get back in on him, see the decision of the quarterback. It's a back shoulder throw. Go up and get it. Get back in on him, find the decision of the quarterback, react. Okay, that brings us next to our partner lean out. And this is good for both outside and inside receivers. The outside receiver, we run our snap route or our speed, and we will run them against press. And also any goal line out cut that we're going to use. This drill really helps us learn those techniques. And then your inside players on your basic out concept, whether it be man coverage or running these routes off of cover down linebackers, hole players, this drill really helps you learn those techniques. So basically we're going to start out in our partner lean position. All right. Once again, the outside player here is the wide receiver and the inside player here is the defensive back, and he's going to lean into the defensive back just like he did on the fade, but now we're going to be breaking sharply out. So he's going to use the same separation techniques with his forearm, separate, And then the key point is to come downhill a yard, come downhill at least a yard when you separate from the DB, to protect against the defensive back undercutting the throw and intercepting it. So here we go. We're going to get a release. Okay, now we're leaning into him. There's our partner lean drill. Lean, 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 separate, and then come downhill, catching the ball on the out. Here we go again. Going to get an outside release. He's going to lean back into him, separate, and come downhill. All right, here's a good clip by an inside player running this. He's got the out and also the sail, whichever one right here, and watch what he's going to do. We're looking at the middle player. He's going to get in on the defender, and he's going to be leaning against him. Now they're leaning into each other right now, just like we would on our partner lean. Okay, now watch when he separates. He's going to put his forearm into the defender's rib cage. His helmet is under his helmet. That's another coaching point. Make sure at the top, right before separation occurs, you are lower than the defender, and it's easily evaluated by looking at the helmet levels. And we are going to separate. Now watch how far off the defensive back gets shoved off the separation right there. That's a really good job. He's being extremely physical, getting vertical, shove, get off of me, and catch the ball. Very nice. Okay, now we're going to do the partner lean shove by curl technique. And so now we're going to have to learn how to do our shove bys here. And basically the outside player is going to be the receiver. And I believe the curl's coming from the, if I'm correct, yes. The curl's going to be coming from, the quarterback is over here. All right, so here's the receiver right here. All right, and then here's the defensive back right here. So basically what we're simulating is we've gotten an outside release versus a defensive back. The quarterback is here, all right, and we're going to be leaning against the defender, and then we're going to reach back, all right, with low pad level, making sure that our helmet is lower than his helmet, and we're going to reach back with our inside hand and place it right here in the small of his back or his hip area. All right, so we can control them. We don't want to put it up too high because you can't control them as easy. But if you can shove the hip, you can get movement by the defensive back. We're going to shove him, and then we're going to get our outside arm inside. We got to get our arm through. We talked about that earlier, and then shove by, come back to the quarterback. There he goes right there. Nice job. As you can see, he's going to take his inside hand. He's going to put it on his hip. You can see it right there. He's going to put it on his hip. Shove the hip forward. One of the things I really like in this picture is the helmet of the wide receiver is lower than the helmet of the DB. He's got great pad level, and he's got his hand on the small of his back. He's going to shove him and get that left arm through, and then come back to the quarterback, catching the ball like we do in all of our drills, looking it in, and then getting straight up the field. Okay, here we go in competition situation. We're going to get an outside release. He's going to lean back in on him, lean back in on him. There you see him take the hand and put it right on the hip. It's a little high, but it needs to be right on the hip, and shove by technique. And look at him get his right arm. See him reach his arm and get his right arm through violently. You got to get your right arm through, shove, get your arm through, and then work your way back to the quarterback. I'll let you look at it. And then get straight up the field. Here we go again. We'll look at it from the top view. Shove him. As you can see, look at the shove and the being physical. Look how far he shoved the defensive back up the field. Now work your way back to the quarterback. Let's look at that from behind. Get into him, shove him, and get back to the quarterback. Okay, now we're going to run the shove by dig, and basically, guys, everything is exactly the same except the angle you come out of your shove by. After you shove the defensive back by on the curl, obviously you're going to go to a point straight back to the quarterback. On the dig situation, you're going to be working across the field, coming downhill 1 yard as you work your way back across the field, but everything else is exactly the same. Let's look at a few clips of that. Okay, so it's the same receiver as outside. This is the receiver here, and this is the defensive back. And so everything is exactly the same we just talked about in the previous clips, except now we're going to be working across the field and downhill. Catch the ball, look it in, get straight up the field. Here we go again. Reach down. His helmet is lower than his helmet. Small of the back, get your arm through, work back downhill. That's a good clip right there. All right, here we go. We're looking at this kid with a red arrow. He's going to run a dig, shove by, get on the defender, shove him by, and then work downhill. Let's look at it right here. He's going to stem the defender outside. Now there we go. Shove him by, and then work downhill. Very nice. Okay, now it takes us to our last one we got here, and we're with the shove by corner route. Okay, if you guys saw the perfect routes clip there, film, there's a bunch of outside receiver shake routes on there versus press, and you'll get a chance to see some of those here in a second. But this is and that is why we do this drill. At the top of the route versus press, we're running a corner route. We're simulating the fact that we cannot get on the other side of the defensive back. This is the defensive back. This is the receiver right here. The ball's inside. We've taken an inside release. We're running up the field shoulder to shoulder with the DB, and the defensive back is either even or above us, which makes us make the decision to shove him by and then get to the sideline. So all the techniques are the same. Hand placement's going to be the same. Getting the arm through is going to be the same. And now we're shoving him by and getting to the sideline, losing a yard if we need to. Here we go again. Now we're going to run it to the left. Good job with his eyes, getting straight up the field. Okay, let's look at some clips illustrating why we do this drill. There we go. And there's our partner drill right there that we just watched. Now he's going to grab him, throw him, and then get to the sideline. And there we go. And like we always say, when you catch the ball and the defensive back is not in the drill or in the screen, you've done a good job. Here's another clip. Look at it from behind. There we go. There's our separation, or I mean our drill right there, our partner lean drill. And let's look up top of the red arrow here. You're going to see we're not going to throw him the ball actually, but he does a really good job, and it demonstrates the shove by technique on the curl. He's going to get an inside release. He's going to get vertical. He's going to make the decision at the top of the route that, hey, I don't think I can beat this guy over the top, so I'm going to shove him by and break it flat to the sideline. And you see how far he throws him up the field. That's a pretty good shove by technique. Next drill I want to talk about is the catch with contact. You know, when you play wide receiver somewhere down the line, you're going to be getting hit as the ball is hitting your hands or even sometimes before. But you got to be able to focus, have concentration, expect the hit, and still catch the football. So what we do is very low intense. We're not trying to hurt players, but we have a drill where we just come off the ball here. You can just see them running a slant. Possibly a guy running a blitz control slant where the quarterback throws it against cover zero, but he throws it up a little bit high, and the safety comes back, and he's going to hit him in the back. We also, talk to our guys about, trying to protect yourself also, getting your body as much as possible, getting balled up as quick as possible, but getting the tuck first. That's the most important thing, is tucking that football away. Protect the football, then protect yourself. Protect the football, then protect yourself. Here, we're trying to simulate a guy running a bender off of off of the streak, and he's an inside player, and he's bending it around the whole player, and then the linebacker comes and hits him. And we got to get that guy back there to quit being such a pansy and hit him a little bit harder than that. But you understand what we're trying to accomplish here, getting a release, and then also knowing that there's going to be a hit coming from the safety here soon, and we got an illustration of that here in this next clip. And this is why we do the drill, just to simulate what it's going to be like. We're looking at the number 2 receiver up down here, right here. He's going to stem the whole player around, bend it off of the vertical, and he's going to get some contact by that safety coming down right there. It's basically the drill we were just working on. Here comes the safety hit. We got to make sure we protect the football first and then protect ourselves. Protect the football, then protect ourselves. All right, let's watch some game clips. Let's look at this from behind. Okay, you're going to be you're looking right here at this receiver. As you can see, throwing it in that hole. And when you catch that hole in that triangle right there, there's going to be pressure. You're going to be seeing some stuff right here and knowing that you're going to take a hit from behind as well. All right. Here we're going to look at this player right here, and it's actually we're going to look at it from behind because it's a lot easier to see this. It's going to be off of a scramble. You'll see him come into the screen. Here he is right there. The receiver's right there. You'll see him catch this ball right here. And as he goes up, he's going to leave himself. He's extended. Not a great position to be in if you're a receiver, but you're going to be in it sometime or another. So we want to protect the football first and then try to get down and protect yourself. Great job holding on to that ball. Here we go with this guy too, and we're going to look at this from behind. And actually, we get a touchdown out of this, which is a really good deal, and it's all because he watches feet on contact. He's going to get hit, but he's not just going to drop to the ground. Watch his feet keep moving. And I think that is from, when you work on that drill, understand, hey, you don't have to just fall down. You can keep your feet and take a hit and then keep running, and there you go, score a touchdown. That's exactly how we got that touchdown. He knew he was going to get hit, and he was going to keep running his feet. Here we go. We're going to look at this one from behind as well. He'll be coming from the left. And here he comes, taking a hit from the safety and holding on to the football. Nice job. All right, the next drill we have is our finish and score drill. Some people call it the sideline drill. Whatever it is, we're catching the ball, running towards the sideline, and we're going to gather our feet, and we're going to get up the sideline and score. We're not just going to be satisfied with running out of bounds, possibly on an out route by an inside player or a speed or a snap by the outside player. We want to gather our feet when possible. We want to put the ball in the outside arm. We want to make sure we put the ball in the outside arm. And then reason we want to put the ball in the outside arm, 2 reasons. Number 1, contact will always be coming from the inside out, and we want to keep that football away from any defensive back. And also, it allows us to use the old stiff arm. It's a great drawing right there. That's the weapon that I think is underused in college football. And here you go, is in a game type situation. You get good at teaching these guys to finish and score. Then you'll get this right here. We're going to get a really nice tight turn up the sideline. Here we go. We're going to put that ball on the outside arm. We're going to catch the ball, tight turn it up the sideline, and watch how many extra yards he gets here from just finishing, being a finisher. All right, there we go again, looking at the middle player there with the arrow. And now this is a big play. As you can see, it's 3rd down here. All right, and we're going to run an out route by that inside player. And watch where he catches the ball and watch what happens because we've worked on the score drill, the finish and score drill. He's going to catch that ball. Look where he's at. He could easily run out of bounds there, 3 yards short of the 1st down. All of his momentum, he's running full speed. Very easily could have just ran out of bounds right there. But since we worked on the finish and score drill, He's able to gather his feet, get that ball in the outside arm, get that ball in the outside arm, and look at there. And that's what I'm talking. Okay, now we've come to my favorite drill, the noose drill, which I'm sure everybody listening to this video has done some version of this drill, and just want to show you some things that we've done. We've tried to make it better, but the thing about this drill is this is the most important thing: is you can't get bored with this drill. A lot of people use this as a warm-up drill, and you got coaches bull crapping in the back, players screwing around, talking, whatever. But I think that, you know, I tell these guys every single day, if we'll have a good noose drill and pay attention to the details, if we can somehow get better in noose, we're going to have ourselves a great practice. And it usually ends up that way. When they're focused in noose,